Electric Vehicles Hidden Truth. Presented by Study in Italy. Have seen millions of reels of electric vehicles, have listened YouTubers talking about EVs, but have you ever thought, why are all these things being done? Why are companies running after making electric vehicles, and most importantly, why are influencers promoting such thing which had started 200 years ago? Yes, in 1800s. Most of us think that electric vehicle is a modern technology, which we have developed in 21st century, but it's not like that. But the question is, in such old times where people considered steam engine as a very new technology at that time, why were so many people trying to make electric vehicle? Because at that time, electric vehicle was a new invention. And thinking about making electric cars, crazy, right? Let's go back in time and start from starting. Benjamin Franklin had discovered electricity in 1700. But the thing is, its use started in 1897, after 170 years its invention, when Thomas Edison invented electric bulb. And you will be surprised to know that the world's first electric vehicle was built in 1884. Electric vehicles had already been invented, but those vehicles were called horseless vehicles, because you couldn't control the speed of those vehicles. But in the same year, Thomas Parker had made such a vehicle, whose speed you can control like petrol vehicles. But how? There was 10 electric batteries installed in that car, which used to supply powers to the tires. Because if you decrease the number of batteries, you can control the speed of the car, can increase or decrease. Would you agree that in 1900, there were 40% electric vehicles? Like, seriously? I know what you're thinking. If this technology is so old and we have been using electric vehicles for so long, then why we see electric vehicles very rarely? Well, because of these three reasons. Number 1, discovery of oil. Before oil-operated vehicles came in, most of the people used to think that electric vehicles is the future. Because till that time there was not much oil discovered. But slowly the oil started getting discovered. As a result of which, oil prices started decreasing. But nothing had changed for electric vehicles. That's why most of the people shifted from electric vehicles to oil-powered vehicles. Number 2, cost. At that time, electric vehicles were much costlier than fuel power vehicles. Reason, it was very difficult to make battery packs. And the material which is used to increase the capacity of battery packs that had not discovered yet. Third and most importantly, range. At that time, the range of electric vehicles was very low. As a result of which, people shifted towards electric-powered vehicles. Now the question is, if there was so much problems in electric vehicles, at the very first pace, why did people purchase electric vehicles? Reason, public validation. See, even today cars are considered as a status symbol. And even in that era, the more expensive vehicle he had, the more social status was there. And this is relevant even today. Even today, people buy iPhone to show off, while their work can be done in cheap phones than that. And at that time, there was a culture of social status. Within no time, even the rich people understood, neither electric vehicles are economical nor they have a good range. And that is the reason, rich people also shifted on petrol vehicles. But if this is so, then why electric vehicles are in trend nowadays? Everyone is talking about electric vehicles. But why? So see, there are 2 reasons behind the boom of electric vehicles. No. 1. The government itself is pushing the electric vehicle. And all governments are pushing electric vehicles because of these 3 reasons. Number 1. Global warming. Whenever you drive fuel-powered vehicles, they do carbon emissions. And due to that carbon emission, global warming increases. It affects people's lifestyle and in fact animals' lifestyle as well. So ultimately, it affects people's lifestyle and animals' lifestyle also. Second reason, crude oil prices. Due to Russia-Ukraine war, the prices of crude oil have increased. And when crude oil prices increase, petrol and diesel become expensive. As a result of which, the logistic cost of everything increases. And the final consumer has to bear that logistic cost. In simple words, when the crude oil prices increase, inflation in the market increases. The sooner a country shifts to the electric vehicle, the sooner it will reduce the cost of its logistics. And that will decrease their dependency on fossil fuels. Which itself makes the country very powerful. And third, countries adopting EVs. Many countries have announced that between 2030 to 2035, many of their cities will be completely EV-based. Means only EVs will run there. Due to which other countries get pressurized to adopt the EVs as soon as possible. And you know what the best part is? If we talk about India, the problem people were facing while adopting EVs, the Indian companies like Mahindra has solved that problem. If we talk about Mahindra, which is one of the oldest automobile company in India, they come up with first electric SUV, XUV 400. Seriously, this car is amazing. Not just in terms of design, but power also. I've not seen such performance in any other vehicle. 0 to 100 km/h that too in 8.3 seconds. Which is the fastest acceleration in non-luxurious segment in India. 310 Nm torque, and best-in-class cabin space due to its long wheelbase, and a huge boot space because it is C-segment SUV. By using the best-in-industry dust and waterproof battery pack and motor, which is IP67 certified and have designed for you. And in India, the biggest problem of EVs is range. And Mahindra has solved this problem also. Because XUV 400 gives the range of 456 kilometers in one charge. This is so amazing, isn't it? And its price starts from just 25.99 lakhs. Bookings are now open, you can register for your test drive. I've given the link in the description, if you want you can check out the car. Now, let's come the second reason behind the boom of EVs. And that is cost effectiveness. However, EVs are costlier than fuel-powered vehicles, but in long term, this cost is less than fuel-powered vehicle. Because you have to pay Rs. 7 to 8 per kilometer in a petrol or diesel car, while on the other hand, this cost becomes Rs. 1 to 3 in EVs. For an example, you drive both cars for 10 km/h. So in this case, the operating cost of fuel-powered car would be 70k 80k rupees. Whereas on the other hand, the operating cost of EVs would be 10k 30k rupees. So in super simple words, EVs may be costly in terms of price, but they beat badly fuel-powered cars. I know what you are thinking. All this is okay, but as a consumer, are EVs safe for us or not? And there are very high chances, you like fuel-powered cars more. So, in coming future, why should we consider EVs at first point? See, EVs comes with such a thing which you don't get in traditional vehicles. And that is the software. Every EV has softwares. And these softwares run that vehicle. And the benefit of these softwares is that many features can be enabled in EVs due to these softwares. But a very important question, which comes in mind of all of us, that is, are EVs really good for environment? Don't EV cause pollution? No, there is nothing like this. The production of lithium batteries that are installed in EVs, and the electricity spent to charge them, they damage environment badly. But if we compare EVs to fuel-powered cars' emissions, the emissions of EVs is very less compared to that of fuel-powered cars. Now look at this very carefully. Pumping jacks are used to extract crude oil from land. And on what these pumping jacks operate? On electricity or internal combustion engine. To give you a perspective, a pumping jack produces so much electricity in a month, in which an EV can be charged for next 3 years. And its story doesn't end here. After the extraction of crude oil, it is transferred, and for transportation, these two things are used. Number 1, pipelines. For which one has to install pumping stations at a short distance, which consume a lot of electricity. And no. 2, ship containers which emit so much smoke, that they are not allowed go to coastline of many countries. That is why the entire oil is transferred to the coastline inside the small ships with these big ship containers. After which this oil reaches refineries, where it is heated at 400 degrees, which causes even more population. Whereas on the other hand, electricity does not have to dig from anywhere. Moreover, if that electricity is generated through wind and solar energy, then it doesn't cause environmental damage. See, if we consider from an environmental perspective, then EVs are the future. But what about the cost? Because even today, EVs are more expensive than fuel-powered vehicles. So see, at the very first place, first let's understand why EVs are so expensive. And most the people think EVs are expensive due to their batteries. But it's not like this. See, EVs are not just cars, they are itself an ecosystem. And these two things play a major role in this ecosystem. Number 1, software. Software inside an electric vehicle is as important as hardware. Because it is the software that gives you a good experience by enabling different types of features inside the hardware components of that electric vehicle. Therefore, each EV software is developed in a different way. That is why when a new electric vehicle is launched, then separate software has to be made for it, for which a separate team is hired. So when an EV comes in the market, a software for that EV is also made. And it includes the cost of that software. And second reason is charging stations. See, the biggest challenge in adaptation of EVs is EV infrastructure, i.e. charging stations. Where fuel-powered manufacturers don't have to think that from where our customers get fuel. Whereas EV manufacturers have to think that how our customers charge their car. The biggest challenge for EV manufacturers of EVs is EV infrastructure. And the thing is, EV manufacturers will have to set up charging stations, then it will increase the overall cost. So this is the reason EVs are comparatively expensive. Whereas on the other hand, the government of most of the countries want citizens to shift to EVs as soon as possible, so they are providing relaxations for manufacturers and customers as well. Like in India, in Phase 2 of FAME, faster adoption and manufacturing of electric vehicles, 10k crore rupees are allotted, which includes 15k rupees per kilowatt battery capacity of EV, 5% GST on EVs, whereas GST on normal vehicles is 12% 18%. And moreover, you can claim deductions up to 1.5 lakh rupees on EV loan. And last and most importantly, exemptions under green tax. And many state government has imposed Rs. 0 road tax and Rs. 0 registration charge. This is how center and state governments are trying to make EVs affordable as much as possible. I know, many of you must be thinking, the major portion of revenue of India government comes from tax imposed on fuel, which is close to 3.5 lakh crore rupees. Then why is the government harming itself? Well, there are 4 reasons behind it. Number 1, global image. In 2021, 21 cities out of 30 most polluted cities were Indian cities. And when the pollution index of Delhi goes to severe, in that scenario, the global image of India gets damaged. The people of Delhi are forced to work in such environment, which is declared a health emergency inside a developed country. Number 2, crude oil. Today every country wants it to reduce its dependency on fossil fuel as much as possible. Because if you do not have to buy fuel, then a lot of money will be saved. And third, health crisis. Due to pollution, health issues are increasing, and in cities like Delhi, people are forced to use air filters. And moreover, if our current and coming generation will face health issues, then how would they contribute in economic development? Just think of it. Fourth reason, bull run opportunity. Every country knows, EVs are trending nowadays. And the country which will not catch this trend, will suffer a lot. Today, there are a lot of doubts in our mind related to EVs. But no one can deny that EVs have completely changed the automobile industry. Because this thing not only helps us as a consumer but also helps government to become fossil fuel independent. Moreover, it controls the environmental pollution, and helps car manufacturers to create a good experience for customers. What you think about EVs, please tell us through comment section. And if you have got value from this video, then please like this video and subscribe the channel, so that you never miss such powerful videos. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to Study in Italy.